is a situation, it suggests that in ideal conditions, there should be no, cross-border movement of funds on the basis of interest rate differential. That is, the interest rates available across countries should be, you know, at par with each other. They should be in equilibrium. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि कहीं पर interest rates कम हैं, somewhere the interest rates are low, so people are borrowing the money from there and they are investing the money in those countries where the rates of interest are high. Okay, you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But in reality, this is not true. We find that there are imperfections in the markets on account of the market structures, on account of deliberate policies of the governments, on account of maybe the information that is available. So there exist interest rate differentials across countries, and that is why you will see and we all witness that the funds, they are diverted from one country into another. Funds are taken or borrowed country and they are invested into another country in order to take advantage of this situation, right? So this is known as the interest based arbitrage. This is an arbitrage which is based on the interest rate differential. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, what will be the result of this? That sooner or later, the either the interest rates will be, the differential or the difference that exists will be neutralized. या तो ये होगा, or otherwise, the foreign exchange rate between the currencies involved, they will be, they will change in such a way that this advantage which exists because of the interest rate differential, this advantage will cease to exist. This will not exist, right? So that is what is called as interest rate parity. We'll come to our slides. Now, as you can see here, that this theory, the interest rate parity theory, it uses the nominal interest rates to analyze the relationship between spot rate and a corresponding forward rate, right? The nominal rates which we see in the the banks which are offering, or the interest rates which are offered by the money market, they are the nominal interest rates. How they are related to the spot exchange rate and the forward exchange rate of two currencies involved. Now, this also seeks to explain that how interest rate differential between home country and a foreign country is related to the foreign premium or discount on the foreign currency, whether the foreign currency will exist, will be available at a forward premium or a discount. Yani ki It all depends on the difference between the interest rates prevailing in the two countries which we are trying to consider, and accordingly the how the forward rate is going to be adjusted. The size of the forward premium or discount on a currency should be equal to the interest rate differential between the countries of concern. For example, if we consider India and USA, okay, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
ओके, इंडिया और यूएसए का हम एग्जांपल ले रहे हैं. अगर इंडिया में रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट से 12% है ऑन एनी डिपॉजिट्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट, और यूएसए में वो जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है वो 7% है, सो नेचुरली पीपल वुड बी इंटरेस्टेड इन इन्वेस्टिंग इन इंडिया. ओके, और यूएसए से वो बोरो करेंगे क्योंकि वहां पर रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट 7% है, इंडिया में 12% है. बट दिस ऑल्सो मीन्स दैट इन फ्यूचर the United States currency, that is the US dollar, it will be available at a forward premium, which is equivalent to the difference between the interest rate differential, that is 12% minus 7%, which is equal to 5%. यानी कि US dollar जो है, in future, it is going to appreciate by 5% vis-a-vis the Indian rupee. यानी कि यूएस डॉलर स्ट्रांग हो जाएगा और इंडियन रुपी जो है वीक हो जाएगा. राइट? सो जो एडवांटेज आपको मिल रही है इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करने की ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ 12% रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, सूनर और लेटर इट इज गोइंग टू डिसअपियर. वो एडवांटेज कम हो जाएगी या बिल्कुल ही खत्म हो जाएगी. Right? That is what I have said, that if nominal interest rates are higher in a country A than country B, then the forward rate of country B's currency should be at a premium sufficient to prevent the arbitrage. So that is the basic idea. We'll try to understand this with the help of some example. Now this is a mathematical representation, that F upon S, where F is the forward rate and S is the spot rate or the current rate. It is equal to 1 plus RD. R denotes the, RD actually denotes the domestic interest rates, and it is divided by 1 plus RF, where RF is the foreign rate of interest. ठीक है? It is a very simple formula, and if you know the spot rate and the corresponding rates of interests between the home country and the foreign country, you can calculate what will be the forward rate or the future rate of the currencies involved. Right? It is explained in another way, that F is equal to 1 plus RD upon 1 plus RF multiplied with the spot rate. Right? Is it okay?
Sir, I do have a
Yes, sir.
doubt.
Yes.
So, for example, you have said that for, the rate of interest, if there is a difference, and therefore the currency's values are also influenced by it. But as you gave us the example of the Turkish lira, so
Yes.
Turkish lira is losing its value against US dollar, while their nominal interest rates are not rising accordingly.
They actually deliberately are not letting it, you know it is a deliberate policy, and they are not following, in fact they are, as far as the literature which I have come across, that they are not letting their economy, to be governed by the interest rate, so they are not letting it rise, and they have chosen they are expecting that their economy is going to bounce back on its own, and they are simply, maybe it may be because of the Islamic principles, or principles of where they are not trying to bank solely upon the rates of interests. That's why you will find that there is a deviation from this uh, theory which we are currently trying to understand, and a very, very valid point that you have raised. Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
now moving further, this is just an explanation ki if f is less than s, that is if the forward rate is less than the spot rate, that means the rate of interest in foreign country is more than the rate of interest in the domestic country, and vice versa, right? So this, trying to, there are different types of explanations, these are different types of what you derive from the theory. So what the interest rate parity theory suggests or holds, right? As I was saying, कि ideal situation में ना तो price differential होना चाहिए, ना inflation differential होना चाहिए, ना interest rate differential होना चाहिए. But we are not living in ideal or a perfect world. We will find that the differences exist, and which is very much natural, right? And that is why it is said that if the interest rate parity holds, then arbitrage is not possible. Why we are having trade in the, the why we are having international trade? Because not every country can produce everything which they need, or even if they are able to produce it, maybe they are able to produce at higher prices than what other peoples can manage to produce it at. So प्राइस डिफरेंशियल्स हैं, क्वालिटी डिफरेंशियल्स हैं, टैक्सेशन है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट्स हैं, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर देयर इन द रियल life, and that is why trade takes place. That is why currency trading takes place. That is why cross border, you know investments take place. And so these theories we try to understand primarily with the intention, primarily with the assumption कि अगर हमें ideal situation समझ में आ गई, so we will also be able to understand its practical implications in real life. What is going to happen, what is going to happen in other than ideal situation? So interest rate parity theory says that arbitrage is not possible. It does not matter whether you invest in domestic country or in a foreign country. Your return will be the same as if you invested in home country when measured in the domestic country. So that is the ideal situation. Okay. Now let us try to understand this further. It suggests the implications of IRP, that if the domestic interest rates are less than the foreign interest rate, as we were talking about, then foreign currency must be traded at a forward discount to offset any benefit of higher interest rates in foreign country to prevent arbitrage. अगर foreign country का interest rate high है compared to the domestic interest rates, so what we will see that the foreign currency will be, it is going to become weaker vis-a-vis the home currency. तो जो एडवांटेज है हायर रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट का फॉरेन कंट्री में, इट इज गोइंग टू सून वीन आउट और डिसअपियर, और फिर आर्बिट्रेज खत्म हो जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आपको इंटरेस्ट रेट पे भी एडवांटेज मिल रही है और वो जो करेंसी है वो फर्दर स्ट्रांग हो गई तो पता चला आपको डबल एडवांटेज मिल जाए. दैट इज नॉट possible, right? That is what the IRP suggests. So ultimately, the same thing is being put in another way. If foreign currency does not trade at a forward discount, or if the forward discount is not large enough to offset the interest rate advantage of the foreign country, arbitrage opportunity exists for domestic investors. So it is just, a different way of putting up the same argument or the same logic, right? So domestic investors can benefit by investing in the foreign market as long as the interest rate differential, the difference in the interest rates exist, and they are, being, as long as they are not being compensated for in the form of a corresponding or a simultaneous depreciation of the foreign currency vis-a-vis the home currency. Now, this thing will become easy to understand with the help of an example. Let us try to see, like, now here. I hope all of you can see this.
Yes.
ओके, अब जैसे आपके पास मान लीजिए 1 lakh US dollars, and let us assume that you are a US citizen, और US इकोनॉमी को हम से डोमेस्टिक इकोनॉमी समझ लें. सो यू हैव अ चॉइस एज एन इन्वेस्टर कि आप वो $1 lakh अपने देश में, अपने मुल्क में जो वहां का इंटरेस्ट रेट है उस पर इन्वेस्ट कर दें, बैंक में डाल दें, या और जो भी मार्केट इस तरह के इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं, इंटरेस्ट बियरिंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, बॉन्ड्स में लगा दें, क्या कमर्शियल इसमें जो मनी मार्केट है उसमें लगा दें. वी आर अज्यूमिंग अ पीरियड ऑफ 1 year, ओके, फॉर द सेक ऑफ कन्वीनियंस. दूसरा तरीका यह है कि अगर आपको मान लीजिए जापान है, या हेयर वी आर कंसिडर दिस अदर कंट्री एज जापान, वहां पे भी रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है, तो आप ये कर सकते हैं कि जब आपको जापान में इन्वेस्ट करना होगा तो आपने अपने डॉलर्स को पहले तो येन में कन्वर्ट किया एट द स्पॉट रेट, राइट? ट्रेड योर डॉलर्स फॉर येन एट द स्पॉट रेट एंड इन्वेस्ट इन जापान एट द जापानीज इंटरेस्ट रेट, राइट? या जो इंटरेस्ट रेट येन पर मिल रहा है, एंड देन यू कैन वेट. एक तरीका है कि आपने वेट किया कि आपके जो जापानीज येन है वो एक साल में कितने हो जाएंगे. वो तो वैसे भी यू कैन ऑलवेज कैलकुलेट, क्योंकि आपको पता है कि रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट कितना है. ठीक है? आर यू आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस? यस? आर वी टुगेदर?
Yes.
Okay. So as we was discussing, that either you can invest domestically, which is shown here in step 1, या दूसरे स्टेप में क्या दिया हुआ है कि आपने एक फॉरेन करेंसी में अपनी मनी को कन्वर्ट किया और उस कंट्री में इन्वेस्ट कर दिया एट द इंटरेस्ट रेट विच इज प्रिवेलिंग इन दैट कंट्री. अब एक चीज हो सकती है कि आप अपनी पोजीशन को कवर ना करें, यू डोंट, यू जस्ट वेट. एक साल के लिए आपने पैसा इन्वेस्ट कर दिया एंड यू आर नाउ वेटिंग कि साल भर के बाद जब आपको जैपनीज येन मिलेंगे तो आप जो है उसे वापस अपने डॉलर्स में कन्वर्ट कर लेंगे. ठीक है? तो ये एक पोजीशन ऐसी है कि हो सकता है कि आपको जब एक साल के बाद आप जो है येन को डॉलर में कन्वर्ट करें, एट दैट टाइम maybe you will, if the dollar becomes stronger vis-a-vis the yen, तो आपको कम डॉलर्स मिलेंगे, यू विल गेट लेस नंबर ऑफ डॉलर्स इन द फ्यूचर. तो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट जो है उससे इफेक्ट होगा, इट विल गेट इफेक्टेड. सो दैट इज व्हाई some of the, and rather in fact most of the traders, when they are dealing in such kind of situation. So they try to ensure or cover their position by simultaneously selling the future value of their investment, the maturity value of their investment in the forward market. That is what exactly it is mentioned here, that hedge your exchange rate risk by selling the future value of Japanese investment forward. आप forward rate जो है एक साल बाद का वो आज मौजूद है. So you can sell the Japanese yen 1 year forward. So जो आपको Japanese yen मिलेंगे उसको आप जो है you can sell it forward. And since both of these investments have the same risk, the same future value, if we are talking about the interest parity, rate parity, if it is holding true, so we can equate the two things, that is 1 plus, and we get the same equation, that F upon S multiplied with 1 plus the interest rate on yen is equal to 1 plus interest rate on US dollar, right? तो आइडियल सिचुएशन में क्या होना चाहिए कि चाहे आप अपने घर में इन्वेस्ट करें डॉलर, या उस पैसे को कन्वर्ट करके जापानीज येन में इन्वेस्ट करें, the situation should be, I mean, both the investments should have the same future value. Otherwise, an arbitrage would exist. बात कुछ समझ में आई आप लोग के?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना? तो सेम फॉर्मूला जो हमने अभी पहले भी देखा था, इट इज अ सेम फॉर्मूला. यहां पर हमने जो है जो वो आया है इक्वेशन, दैट इज एफ अपॉन एस इज इक्वल टू 1 प्लस आर एच या आई एच. आई से भी इंटरेस्ट रेट डिनोट होता है और आर से भी होता है, सो इट कैन बी either way. So now let us see another example which is more particular, which is more relevant to our case. If the interest rate parity fail to hold, अब ये situation है, and we will try to understand a very interesting thing that is called as covered interest arbitrage. That is, we are trying to cover our position, the future position, by entering into a forward market, and this is where we will find the role of the the forward market. Now here let's see some specifications are given. Here we are considering two countries, the USA and the Great Britain. स्पॉट एक्सचेंज रेट दिया हुआ है यहां पर डॉलर पर पाउंड, यानी कि $1.25 इज इक्वल टू 1 पाउंड, है ना? ओके. और 360
So
डे
your
फॉरवर्ड
screen
रेट.
is not visible properly.
यस.
So your screen is not visible properly.
ओके. But I have shared this presentation with you, so you can look at that.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now what we see, the spot exchange rate is given between dollar and pound as $1.25 per pound. This is the spot rate. And 360 day forward rate, that means एक साल बाद का जो फॉरवर्ड रेट है वो मिला है 1.20 per pound. That means if we compare these two quotations, it shows that the dollar will appreciate in the future. यानी कि क्योंकि अभी 1 पाउंड में आपको $1.25 मिल रहा है, so pound is strong. In future, after 1 year, it is expected that the dollar will become strong because the exchange rate is moving in favor of dollar. दैट 1.2 पर पाउंड, ठीक है। इंटरेस्ट रेट यूएस में 7.1% है और इंटरेस्ट रेट यूके में 11.56% है। सो क्लियरली any trader would be tempted to borrow from USA at 7.1% and invest the money in England at 11.56%, ठीक है बात? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है। अब क्या करते हैं? Let us see how this calculation is going to be, So what we are considering a very very simple situation कि अगर एक ट्रेडर के पास $1,000 है, a trader having $1,000 to invest could invest in USA at the rate of 7.1%, ठीक है। तो वो कितना हो जाएगा? 1000 मल्टीप्लाइड विद 1 प्लस 0.07 तो अल्टीमेटली it will become after 1 year 1071 US dollar, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है। $1,000 को अगर 7.1% पर एक साल के लिए आप इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तो एक साल में आपको इंटरेस्ट के बेसिस पर $71 मिल जाएंगे, विच विल मेक इट 1071। ऑल्टरनेटिवली what you can do, the trader could exchange $1,000 for 800 pounds। जब आप $1,000 को 1.25 के स्पॉट रेट पे कन्वर्ट करेंगे पाउंड्स में, सो व्हाट यू आर गोइंग टू गेट इज 800 पाउंड्स, ठीक है। यहां पे एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ है कि 1000 डिवाइडेड बाय 1.25, so you will get 800 pounds which you will invest at 11.56%। तो जब वो 800 पाउंड्स को 11.56% पर इन्वेस्ट करेंगे इंग्लैंड में, so at the end of the year what you are going to get back is 892.48 पाउंड्स, क्योंकि आपका जो है पाउंड पे जो इंटरेस्ट रेट है वो 11.56% है। नाउ यू वांट टू कन्वर्ट योर पाउंड्स back into the US dollar, isn't it? So forward rate क्या है डॉलर का vis-a-vis पाउंड? It is 1.2 dollars per pound. So if you calculate that, if you multiplied 892.48 with 1.2, you are going to get exactly the same amount of dollars, that is 1071. So this means that the interest rate parity does not hold true। कोई फायदा नहीं है ऐसी सिचुएशन में कि आप you take all this pain of converting your home currency into a foreign currency and then you invest it in that foreign market, and subsequently after 1 year you convert it back into your home currency। So that is what IRP says, that there are no super normal profits. In fact, there are no gains. It says that there are no gains. There is no difference in the investment outcome based on the interest rate differentials। Now, what happens is that in a situation When you have an opportunity for making more money than what you can make at home, then only you should get into the process of arbitrage, right? Only as it is mentioned that you should be able to, not only that money should be able, should be able to repay your loans, but you should also make some profit. Then only it should be, it is a strategy, or it's the entire exercise of investing abroad is worthwhile, right? So that is the basic idea when we talk about the interest rate arbitrage. So what we have learned from the IRP is that in addition to the relative interest rates, the forward exchange rate is an important factor in spot exchange rate determination. Under the certain conditions, the forward exchange rate can be viewed as the expected future spot rate, right? That is very much true, because we also know, in fact, this is one of the major findings which has been empirically proved, which has been researched upon and tested, that the forward exchange rates, they are an unbiased predictors of फ्यूचर स्पॉट रेट, यानी कि जैसा जैसा मार्केट सेंटिमेंट होगा, बिल्ड होगा ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द फॉरवर्ड एक्सचेंज रेट, the future spot rates will also accordingly converge. They will, they will be very much close or almost similar to the forward exchange rate. So forward, based on the forward market rates which exist now, you can predict कि future market कैसा होगा, the future spot rates कैसे होंगे. And that's why interest rate differential between a pair of countries is approximately equal to the expected rate of change in the exchange rates. Okay. There are obviously certain deviations, because when we study these economic theories, they are primarily with certain assumptions which are obviously not very much realistic. Number one, you have the transaction costs which exist in different markets. There are capital controls. The governments, they interfere, and rightly so, and they restrict the import and export of money through taxes or other direct bans, right? Before we wind up, another important thing is, another very very important thing that we understand. I hope we all have some idea that the exchange rates which are sorry, the rate of interest which are available in the market, they are made up of two components, right? One is the real required rate of return, what is expected, and the other is an inflation premium, which is equal to the expected amount of inflation. Let me just explain it. Say, for example, the the rate of interest which is available in a bank, say it is 15%, and the rate of inflation in that country is 10%. So in real terms, the rate of return is the 15% minus 10%. that is the 5%. 5% is the real rate of return. उसके अलावा जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा है, it is merely in order to compensate against the rate of inflation. अगर किसी इकोनॉमी में रेट ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन 10% है और बैंक जो है रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट 10% दे रही है, तो इट इज एज गुड एज ऑफरिंग नथिंग, क्योंकि जितना आपको अपने मनी पे एप्रिसिएशन मिलेगा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट से, उतना ही जो है प्राइस लेवल्स बढ़ जाएंगे। आपको आपने 100 रुपए कहीं इन्वेस्ट किए एंड यू गेट 110 रुपीज एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर, साल भर में प्राइस लेवल्स भी 10% से रिवाइज हो जाएंगे, सो योर परचेजिंग पावर रिमेन्स द सेम, आपको कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ेगा। सो that is the basic idea. That is what the Fisher effects they seek to, explain. And what is important here in this case is to understand that this Fisher's open condition, that the real rate of interest at home is equal to real rate of interest in the foreign markets. A, that is the real rate. AH is real rate of interest at home is equal to real rate of interest in the foreign market. Or you can say that these are inflation adjusted rates of rates of interest. So they are the rate of interest which are adjusted against the inflation which is prevalent in the different countries. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is where we will, uh, you know, end our discussion for today. Not many people are present, maybe because of the cold. So thank you for joining the class. We'll meet tomorrow, inshallah, at 9:40. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.